Now, I want to go back to Thursday night, which is a while ago, but the fallout continues here because it really was a tale of two teams, wasn't it?
No doubt about it, TJ. They were challenged really early from Geelong. They kicked 6 goals in the first quarter. They came with a plan to shut Port Adelaide down through the middle of the ground. But I just thought the way they were able to adjust after quarter time. And then this is just a blitz that not too many teams in the league are capable of doing, other than probably Collingwood. They kicked 7 in a row. And a lot of that was out of the centre bounce and from their stoppage work. They got some really good role players. Houston's having an enormous year, and we've spoken about the young midfield that they've got. But, yeah, what a performance it was.
Look, they're playing with courage, aren't they? And it's been a key part of what they've been able to do for 11 weeks. I feel they're running their business with courage too. And I'm fully supportive of this plan to not address Ken Hinkley's future until August. And others have got different views, and we'll discuss this in a moment's time. But, Kane, you spoke with David Koch on SEN on Friday, and he's just maintaining the line that they're going to wait until they're ready.
Back in January, a collective decision, Ken, Chris Davies, Cos, myself, Richo, to say we are going to give this group absolutely clear air. We're going to take all the speculation off the table. We've got a plan. We're not going to talk about coaching until August. Things got very emotional in the first couple of rounds. We ignored it. Things are getting emotional again at the other end of the spectrum, and we're ignoring it as well.
I just love the business of what they're doing with this. And I know it's a different view I've got to what a lot of you have on the panel, but the courage to make that decision at the start of the year and the courage to stick with it, I feel it's provided an edginess to their entire operations around the club, and we've seen it on the field with 11 wins. I think it's actually made them a better club.
But what happens now, Damo, because of the August deadline, they're going to finish top 4. The prospect of that derailing a finals campaign...
Has it derailed a finals campaign? If it gets to August and then they make a decision, which they said they're going to do.
The decision has to be to re-sign him. You can't make the decision to sack him on the eve of a final series after you finish top 4. So there's only one decision to make, and that is to re-sign.
Yeah, but they've set August as that date. So why bring it forward to June or May or July?
I'm not saying to bring it forward, but there is no decision to make. It is signing. There's no prospect to sack the coach on the eve of a final series.
It would be even bolder to let it play out beyond August and see if you produce a grand final.
You can't go back on your word now.
I'm with Kane. So I agree with you. Can't argue with anything you're saying, Damo, there on how bold they've been and waiting till August. But if the decision is to not go with Ken, I don't know how they can win a premiership. So in their view, they've decided we're going to move on and we're going to look for somebody else to get a new coach next year.
I don't think the players care as much as we think they do when they're caught up in a season that could result in a grand final.
What if their coach will by August? If he isn't re-signed by August, he starts talking. He starts talking.
And we all start talking.
It becomes a circus, absolute circus. So it's no problem now. But if they don't re-sign him in August, it becomes a big problem.
Ken, believe it or not, is actually the catalyst for a one-off return of the time capsule today. We're going to go back to the early 1990s because he did have a foot in both camps with Geelong and Port Adelaide. And anyway, we'll see that a little later on in the program. Speaking of the Cats...
Yeah, line ball finals prospects now, given that loss to Port Adelaide. And this is a bigger problem too now that Paddy Dangerfield, first game back in 5 weeks, and Dan Houston innocuously collected him there where he left him with a collapsed lung and broken rib. It required him to drive back from Adelaide to Melbourne, and as we speak we just don't know how much time he's going to be on the sidelines, and given he's already missed a chunk of footy and this team is struggling coming off last year's premiership, it's huge.
That's amazing that he played out the game.
Extraordinary.
It's amazing, and he kicked a big goal to start the third
quarter.
Term. I mean, we can have our thoughts on Patrick Dangerfield, but he is one of the toughest players to ever play with the way that he attacks the footy, and to do that was phenomenal.
What are the alternate thoughts?
Well, no, remember I've spoken about the criticism of him exaggerating injuries in the past, which I think was fair at the time, but you could never question the courage of him putting his head over the footy, and his status in the game continues to grow.
I hope they make the finals, Geelong. I think that there's some losses that aren't too bad, and I think that wasn't a bad loss. Here's Chris Scott on Thursday night. He's not happy. 7 goals to 3 they conceded in the third quarter, which cost them. He's fired up. They've got a big game on Thursday night at Geelong v Melbourne. Get through that one, and I think they can get on a run. So this is season-defining on Thursday night. And why I say I hope they make it, because I think they would scare the top 4 more so than any of the other teams. I think their upside is good. I'm disappointed with the Dangerfield injury because they were getting players back. Now they lose him again. But I still liked a lot of what they did in that first half against Port Adelaide.